I think you could still have a big market approach to doing things in a smaller community.
I can't wrap my head around everything that you do.
I like the adrenaline rush that directing gives you.
That's a quarter of a century, everybody.
The band's called Twisted Chrome.
Nobody talks to you about that in journalism school, do they?
I don't think so.
An inside look at the people in front of and behind the cameras at NTV on this episode of Inside NTV.
Welcome to the latest episode of Inside NTV. In the past, we've talked to Steve White up at his Grand Island Bureau. I've talked to Kyle Kleckner in the Weather Center. So now I'm in Kendra's office because that's where she works. So actually, you kind of bounce all over the place.
Yeah, I kind of go all over, but you know.
Kendra is what is your title?
Oh, it's a long one. We'll just say production manager.
Okay.
That is the easiest way to put it.
You're in charge of all of the behind the scenes stuff.
Yep.
In production. So that's directors, audio, camera operators, editors,
Yep.
correct? Also under your umbrella.
Yep.
And then you're also the main director
Mm-hmm.
in the evening shows. You direct the 5 and 6. Go back a little bit. Tell us where you came from, how you got into all this stuff.
Yeah, so this isn't my first career choice, actually. I wanted to do more like music. My dream job was to find and promote bands. And so I was getting a business degree at Texas Tech University. Hated Lubbock. That didn't work out. I moved around a bunch, was back in Wyoming, seeing my parents, randomly stumbled into Central Wyoming College and kind of got like a almost free ride to finish this degree, which is communications and new media there. And then I figured out that I loved directing randomly whenever we were doing live PBS shoots and stuff like that. And so from then on, I was just I want to direct live television, which is usually news. Sports would be awesome. Obviously SNL is my biggest dream. But yeah, my first job was in Montana, out of NBC Montana for Sinclair. I was a newscast director there the weekends, and then I kind of moved up to a full-time director and sort of was doing what I do here without the title. And yeah, Andrew reached out to me, our boss, and offered me this job, and it just kind of worked out, and so I moved here. So yeah.
And you got here when?
September
of 23.
Yep.
How do you like it so far?
It's good. No, I like the station. I like the people. I'm excited about our rebuild. It's going to be fun. So far, it's been actually really, really awesome. Everyone, I feel like everywhere you go, they say everyone knows this, but it really is true. I haven't met anyone that I don't like or can't get along with. Everyone is open to new ideas, or they like to pitch in. They all want to learn and grow, and so yeah, it's been awesome. Yeah, I love it so far.
and on a normal daily basis, you direct the 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. shows, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Because your schedule is actually similar to mine at the moment. It's a late morning into the evening.
Exactly. Yep. Or just filling in for other people. Whenever I first got here, I don't think my position usually directs, but I was I'll only take this position if I'm able to direct newscasts. I mean, do I want to direct all the evening shows? Of course I would love to, but then how would I do the rest of my job?
Mm-hmm.
So I figured that out pretty quickly. It's too much to do all of that. But yeah, I usually am here from 11 to 7:30, and then just kind of fill in if an editor is out, or someone in audio. And so yeah, it's kind of cool. I get to bounce around to different, I get to edit, or I get to do audio one day. Maybe I get to do cameras or go out in the field. So it's fun. I'm not just stuck in one position.
I mean, we're in your office, but you're not a big fan of just being in the office,
No.
this room for 8 hours a day.
No, definitely not. Yeah, I definitely like to move around or do other stuff.
What's it like training new directors? Because we have a couple that we may meet down the road on this podcast. You're the one in charge of making sure that they learn how to do it, or if it doesn't work out, then you find what else to do with them. But what is that like for you?
Right. So far it's been good. Directors at this station actually do more than any other station that I've ever seen or heard of. So it's I mean, it was even challenging for me when I first got here. It's a lot, but so far it's been pretty easy, I want to say. It's it can be intimidating, and I think people are like, "Oh my gosh, live television, if I mess up, like it's my job and you're going to mess up, unfortunately." But like I said earlier, we have a lot of great people that work here, so like our anchors, if something does go wrong, they're all very, very nice about it. Like, no one is wanting to make mistakes as long as you're growing and learning from them, which so far they all have. It it usually works out well. I actually didn't think, I'm usually a very quiet, introverted person. I didn't think I would be good at teaching at all. And I learned at NBC Montana, I kind of had to teach a lot of people, especially new directors, kind of how to direct and edit. And I ended up being good at it. So it's been really cool. I actually like it a lot. I thought I would not like it, and I thought I would be terrible at it.
We're definitely not that. And I'm glad you like it. To go back a little, you mentioned about how the directors here do so much more than a lot of other places.
Yeah.
In my head, so I go back to college, which now is like a long time ago. But there, I remember there was somebody to run graphics, somebody to run video, somebody to take the stuff on air, all this stuff.
Yeah.
Everything but audio is pretty much the director, right?
Everything. Yep. Yeah. So instead of just calling, I mean, at large stations, you have a director and then a technical director, which is like the hands of the operation, and the director is the voice. At NBC Montana, it wasn't quite like that. I was still, doing the TD and the directing, but I wouldn't have to run my own graphics. I would have a person do that. So as I'm calling out, take CG or whatever, full screen or open, they would take it. And then same with videos, like roll that video channel in A. But here it's all the director. It's a lot. I mean, it's hard to keep up with looking at 4 screens plus a prompter plus your hands moving around. It's very intimidating. It's hard, but luckily a producer, if they're in there to help you too, they can kind of be like your eyes, and whenever you start to get lost because you can only be so many places at once.
And there's a lot. I mean, sitting in the producer chair, there's a lot for the director to digest. So it's definitely good for the producer to have that second set of eyes.
Oh, definitely. It's so helpful. Yeah. I mean, I call out to you guys a lot, like double checking, like, is this what's gonna? Yeah. Okay, good. If I can't look quick enough, because it's a lot. I've had to learn to read a different way too. I used to have my iNews in my own computer to read that way. Here it's a little bit different. A lot of the directors I know don't even they just look at the prompter as it's coming, and then just one sheet of paper. And for me, I would go through every line at my old job. And so here you can't quite do that because again, you're doing so much and tapping every time. That's just another thing that we would have to do.
And I know some places, maybe bigger markets or other markets across the country, have the space bar method where everything's programmed in.
Right.
But here, the director puts personality into the show.
I agree.
And you're physically having to go and do everything, but you can also make changes on the fly if you need to.
Yeah. No, definitely. I love it. A lot of places are moving to automation, as you're talking about. You kind of program your show beforehand, and that's what a director does. But like you said, putting personality into it. I like to kind of decide on the fly. I like the adrenaline rush that directing gives you, and I feel like that's part of it. It might be scary in the moment, but it's a good feeling. It's kind of like a rush or a high, if you will. But yeah, I'm hoping we stay this way for a long time instead of going to automated directing. It also saves a lot of jobs too.
That's true. Outside of the job, give us a little window into what you do outside of work or what you're interested in.
I go to a lot of concerts, so I travel, do that. I have a golden retriever, so I walk and hike with him a lot. And then I have a boyfriend named Mike. So yeah, we live together in Kearney. Honestly, I haven't done a lot here so far because I've been working, and I'm pretty new, but usually whenever I'm out of town, I'm at a concert. It's 99% of the time you can bet I'm at a concert. So that's kind of what I do, is travel around, and go to shows. Grateful Dead are my favorite bands. You're just talking about that.
And what's funny, and not funny, but ironic, as we're taping this, like a day or two before, Bill Walton died, and so the connection there with the Grateful Dead. So I just kind of thought of that.
Yeah. Oh, that was a good story. Sad.
So you have the dog, you have the boyfriend, all that stuff. You talked about how when you're, you work a lot.
Yeah.
Which is true, because I'm going to pull the curtain back a little bit. You have a shift, but you do work a lot.
Yeah.
Which is great. We're all thankful for that. Sometimes we chase you out the door.
I know. I overwork.
But the thing is you don't do it because you're like, I want to be here forever. You're
right.
Like all minutes of the day. You're doing it because you want to make sure stuff gets done correctly.
Definitely, yeah. And I don't like to put things on other people. Like I want my staff to have a life as well. And honestly, I started to realize that this is the first time I've only had one job in probably like 10, 15 years. I usually have 2 to 3 jobs. And before I was like, I work so, but I'm still working so much. So I think I'm just a little bit of a perfectionist and workaholic. And I don't like to say no or make things harder for other people. So if I can help do it, like I don't want to micromanage, but I don't want to ask my staff to do extra if I can help with that, if that makes sense. So yeah, I don't know.
and I don't want to say if there's a job open or not, because it depends when somebody watches this, but right. What would somebody need to have in their mind before they go to apply for a job in production, or what would they need to know before they look at, maybe I want to come to NTV and work for Kendra?
Right. Honestly, I can pretty much train, I feel like, anybody, as long as you are like open to learning new things. If you have a background in editing, that would be awesome. A lot of people don't. Deandra didn't, and it's fine. I can teach that. She's never directed. I don't think she's done audio in like years. She had a whole career before this. We can teach you all of that. It's just if you have a drive and a passion to want to do it, that's the main thing. And I would want people to just be like friendly and pretty easygoing. When it gets stressful, there's sides of people that come out, and we don't want that to always be the case. So to be able to work under pressure and, just learn multitask, those are the biggest things, honestly.
I know that personally, I will tell Colton or another person in the booth, whoever that might be, and be like, on election night, if I start yelling and hitting the table, it's not personal.
Nope. Those are stressful. The other night I was upset about something and someone came in and I, took it. I didn't yell at them, but you could tell I was not my regular self, and I'm sure that scared them a little bit. But you have to be able to roll with the punches. It's not personal.
But to be fair, too, it's a high pressure deal. I mean, you're not doing a bunch of pre-tape stuff that you can do over and over and over again. Exactly. Even then, you have a window. But you're doing live television, and if it goes wrong, people at home are going to see.
Right. Yeah. No, it stinks, and there's just a lot on everyone's plate here, so it can build up. Yeah, that's all I gotta say, I think, on that.
And I'm trying to think of anything else that somebody that you work with or that works for you may not know about you that you would want to say. Something fun.
Something fun? I don't know. I really don't.
You already dropped the Grateful Dead thing. Right.
I love music and live shows. I love my family. I have nieces and nephews that I love to spoil. They don't live here. One sister's in Vegas. The other one's in North Carolina. And then my mom at home. So I try to go visit her as much as I can. But yeah, I don't know. There's not.
You have built-in vacation options there.
Right. Exactly. Seriously, we're all in different time zones. How weird is that?
Wow.
Like Cassie's West Coast. My mom's Mountain. I'm Central, which I keep forgetting. I keep thinking I'm in Mountain Time. And then my other sister's on like the East Coast time. So
the other thing I did want to mention about you coming from NBC Montana, which is also a Sinclair-owned station, and so is NTV. Darren Winberg came from there.
Oh, that's how
so
I got this job. Yeah.
you worked with Darren, so you had him able to vouch for you before you even got here?
Yeah, he actually told Andrew about me. I didn't apply for this job. Andrew just reached out. Darren knew me at the very beginning, and luckily I impressed him. So he gave his recommendation for me. But
and that's it. I think that's advice for people out there too. I mean,
100%.
you're pointing out that this was not something you necessarily applied for,
Mm-hmm.
but because of the connections that you had, the friends that you had made in the business,
exactly,
it opened the door for a job, especially for you in management.
Yep.
So I think that's something to keep in mind. You don't want to burn bridges. You want to be good to people. You want to work hard wherever you are, because something may happen that you're not even ready to have happen.
Oh yeah, I could tell a very funny story about that, but maybe I won't.
Okay.
About being friendly and yeah, don't burn bridges in this business, because everyone eventually is connected and knows everyone. They really do.
It's very small, smaller than you might think.
It is. It really is. And Sinclair stations are everywhere. So yeah.
Well, cool. Anything else?
I don't think so.
All right. Kendra, thank you so much for
Thanks.
welcoming us into your office. I'll let you get back to work.
Okay, thank you.